Vice
Yeah.
versa.
It's another song, the world around me. What a beautiful song that is to have.
Thank you. That's the world around me. Yeah, that's trying to remember that one. So many, too many songs to remember. But
That's right, man.
thank you.
Beautiful song. What about if you can go over the making of the Blue Obsession with
Yeah,
Michael?
yeah. That actually, Beautiful Child was written during that project, and it didn't make it Blue Obsession, but
Yeah.
that started. I've got to. I'll try to make it short, but we were still living in Los Angeles, and Mike told me he had an idea for a blues song, like a blues rock song, and he said, I kind of want to make it sort of Jimi Hendrix, like all out sort of rock blues song. And I went, okay, that's interesting. So he came over to my house and he showed me the main figure. Dun, 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 dun. He had that on piano. And I went, okay. So I set up a drum loop that we could play to, a rhythm, and I picked up my bass. And then we started writing the chords. And we hashed out the chords to it, and I came up with some ideas with it as well. But there was no lyric, and he wasn't singing or anything. And this is when I knew Mike was not human. Again, he goes, so we built up a track, and I don't think I put guitar on it. I think it was just keyboard, drum loop, and bass. And he goes, can you just give me a track so I can just throw down the melody and just so can we remember it for later? And I went, okay. So I gave him the track, and I'm not exaggerating this at all. He sang the entire song, word for word, as it appears now. All in his head. Nothing was written down. And,
how in the world?
And that's what I said. After he did it, I went, where did that come from? And he goes, well, I don't know. I just had it in my head. I've had it in my head for a while. And I went, who are you? Yeah. And, and it was like, and it's a brilliant lyric. It really is. And,
of course, yeah.
And so then we left it at that. And he goes, and I said, well, do you mind if I play with the track a little bit and kind of build a track around it? And he goes, no, go for it. So I went in there and I put in some guitars, which is kind of the Hendrix feel, and played a drum track to it, put down new bass. And I think I put down an organ track as well. and I was pretty happy with it. So then we went and we went back on the road up to Santa Rosa, California. And I said, Mike, I've got a version. You want to hear it? And I was really nervous about it. And so I gave him, we still had Walkmans at this time. This was like 1995 or something. And so I gave him my Walkman and he put the headphones on. We were in the van. I remember we had just finished sound check and we were heading back to the hotel. So the whole band was in the car and he puts the phones on and, I won't swear because he said something, but he puts it on and he goes, he's listening to it and I could hear it in his headphones, but I was really nervous. And he goes, this is effing great. This is effing great. And he pulls it out, pulls the headphones on and he goes, put this in the tape machine, in the car thing. And he puts it in the car cassette machine, blasts it. And he goes, oh, this is unbelievable. I can't believe this. He just loved it. And the whole band, in front of the whole band, it was like, I can't tell you how exhilarated I was. And that started the album Blue Obsession, because the song was called Obsession Blues, but he wanted to call the album Blue Obsession, kind of a twist on it. And that song started, it was the nucleus of that record. So then, not long after that, he moved to Nashville, which was kind of weird because I had moved to Nashville because of Michael. And anyway, or actually, I take that back. I wasn't in Nashville yet. He had moved to Nashville. I was still in Los Angeles. And he kept saying, you got to come out to Nashville and write. We'll write some more. And I think you'd like it out here. And I was kind of like, Nashville, really? So we went out to Nashville. I went out and he got a place down on Music Row, they call it down here, 17th, 16th. And it's just an area of Nashville. And it's all old homes that are converted into production houses where songwriters write and record. And so we went into this room and he had another song idea and he knew the title was going to be called No Love to Be Found. And I went, okay. So he had the song idea and we just started writing. And again, it was a very 50-50 thing. I'd throw a lyric out at him, and I came up with the bridge, which I was thinking kind of Tom Petty at the time, because the song was in a minor blues thing. But I thought, well, what if we kind of went major and got big and regal for the bridge? And he was like, what? And it worked, and he really liked it. So we wrote that, and then all of a sudden he started playing these other chords, and I started playing along with him, and we wrote another song while we were writing that one, and that's called Someday You Will. And it turned out to be about a friend of ours who was actually a childhood friend of Mike's. His name was Chuck Sabatino, who had a stroke. And I think at this time he was still living, but he was incapacitated and could no longer be in the band. And it was devastating to all of us. So we wrote this song, 2 songs in one day. No Love to Be Found and Someday You Will. And so then we had the 4th song came later, but build upon it. But so that was the nucleus of Blue Obsession. And I was still living in Los Angeles, so I went home, and then he hired Tommy Sims as a producer for the record. And they went on and they cut a bunch of other great stuff for that record. But he was on Reprise Records at the time, or Reprieve, whatever you call it, part of Warner Brothers. And they dropped him. They dropped Mike. They let him go.
Really?
Yeah, they dropped him. They decided not to pick up his contract. And it was like, oh, you're kidding. And this album was done. And so the album was in the can. It was like, went on the shelf, and it was like, are you kidding me? And I kept talking to Mike about it. And Mike said, yeah, it looks like it's not going to go anywhere. And then he talked about putting it out himself. And I said, Mike, I'll help you finish the record for nothing. But we got to put this record out. And so I flew back here to Nashville, and we wrote Build Upon It. And we went in and recorded a bunch of other songs. And he put it out on his own label, which he formed with Jeff Bridges and another guy named Chris Polonis, called Ramp Records. And the record came out. I think partly thanks to me, because I pushed Mike to finish it. And I think it's one of Mike's greatest records. I mean, I love all his stuff, but I think it's one of his most unique records. I really do.
Well, I have several questions. So first, congratulations. Number 2 is you mentioned something very, very important that Michael mentioned many times. Go for it. Try a different way. Or you surprised the guy. You were nervous, but with some, I don't know, as I said before, right? I don't know your world, but with many musicians, you don't have the opportunity to do that, right? So, they hire you to do 40 gigs. This is how you're gonna play. That's the way you're gonna dress it. Play to my guitar, play to my piano, play to my liver. I don't care.
Yeah.
You have a very good and significant relation, like maybe brother to brother or father to son, or whatever with Michael. That he knows you enough now, right? That
Mike he's
show me your stuff.
He's the most unegocentric person I know.
Really?
He almost he almost downplays himself. He doesn't think he's a very good keyboard player. He rags on his own voice sometimes. It's like, he needs encouragement too, just like the rest of us. And I try to remember that, because just because he's Michael McDonald, he's still human. He's still got emotions. He's got doubts, self-doubts, just like anybody.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. He knows what he wants. He's got a very clear vision of what he wants, but at the same time, he thinks his stuff is terrible sometimes. And it's like, Mike, come on, stop it. I love your stuff, so he needs encouragement, just like all of us. He really does. So I'm grateful that he does trust me. And he's not afraid to tell me if he doesn't like something too, and I've developed a state where I can be honest with him and say, Mike, I think this part's going on a little too long. Maybe you need to shorten that a little bit.
Yeah, so
and he'll go, oh yeah, you're right. Or he'll say, no, I like it that way. We can be honest with each other, and that's healthy. You don't want to be a yes man, and he doesn't want yes man. He wants honesty too, of course,
And then what's difficult to put, I suppose, when you need to go on your own, right? Put the record together as your own label I imagine that's a difficult process. You need to put up the money and
Oh, yeah,
uh,
absolutely. I saw Mike go through that with Blue Obsession. I mean, let's face it. They're, record companies, when they put records out, they spend a lot of money to promote it and they, there is definitely such a thing as payola. They pay radio stations to play your stuff. So Mike with his own record company, that was in his court. He had to support his record. Yeah, he spent a lot of money on promoting that record, and I think he made most of it back. But that was a struggle for him. Absolutely. He since went on and now he's got his own label without those partners. And I think it's, but he signed with Motown and did those records. So, kind of found it's easier to have another record company put up the money. Let's put it that way.
And then they do the promotion, the contact rates, and they do all the marketing, advertising. You just play.
Absolutely. So Blue Obsession, that was a hard one to promote. It did sell well, regardless. It sold well, but I think it would have done better if it was still on Reprieve. But it's a great record, and I think he's talking about doing a reissue of that record at some point here with either Universal or Motown, which would be great.
Yeah. Wow. I don't know if do you know Steve Hackett stuff well or?
Yeah.
He has a very good album that I like. It blues stuff. I like rock and well, as I said before, I like many types of different music for many different reasons. So there is one album, a blues album that he did a long time ago, and I mentioned that album in the interview that I did with him 2 months ago. It's a very good album, man. I can send it your way, man.
I'll check it out, definitely. Yeah, I'm always
it's very good stuff. Very good.
More than willing to buy people's records because that's what it's all about, supporting each other.
Right. So then you moved to Nashville. Were you married at the time?
Yeah. My wife and I have been married for almost 30 years. Yeah, that was a
big deal, right?
It was a very big deal because I'm a California boy. I've been there all my life, and so was she. Yeah. And I brought her and the kids out here first, and we kind of visited.
Right out, right.
And she liked it. I think it was appealing to her because of the lifestyle. I mean, for our kids raising a family, and that's the great thing about Nashville is you can be a musician here and actually make a living and support yourself and support your family, as opposed to being in California. It's very hard. It's expensive there, and it's not getting any cheaper. So yeah, that and the school district was great. We could get a great house for the money. So yeah, it was a big move. I mean, it was a very scary thing. I mean, we drove from California to here, and I remember the whole way going, "What am I doing?" But we've really grown to love it here, and we've been here almost 23 years, almost. Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Oh, yeah. I've never been in that part of the country, and somehow, sorry, my ignorance, but I do respect country music. I don't know that much about it, but somehow I think, although I never been there, right, that I wouldn't like living there because I don't like the kind of that type of music. Maybe I'm wrong, but here is in where I live, right? Mm-hmm. I'm in Virginia, 20 minutes from Maryland, and then 20 minutes to DC.
Yeah.
But every good band come to this area. So that's why I'm able to see every single band that everybody comes here.
We played the Birchmere there a lot in that area.
Of course, yeah, I've been many times. Yeah, I saw you last night. I was there too. The Birchmere is a beautiful place. So
yeah, I love it. I got to open for Mike.
Huh?
I got to open for Mike there one time. With my acoustic guitar, I did a 30-minute set opening for Mike there. That was fun.
When was that? Like 4 years ago?
Longer than that.
Longer than that? Oh, yeah.
It was on my birthday. I remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was probably 10 years ago, maybe a little more than that.
Oh, I got you.
Yeah.
So that's the reason I don't know anything about Nashville. And I don't know if I would like it or not. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm.
No,
It's a pro.
I understand what you're saying because I know a lot of people that say that to me. It's, it's yeah, the music scene is very dominated by country, but more than that, it's more dominated by songwriters. And those songwriters actually, and a lot of big acts come here to produce their records. Not country people, but rock acts and gospel acts and even jazz acts. It's there's a lot of music here, a lot of different types of music, and a lot of nightclubs that play all kinds of music. Like there's a club here called Third and Lindsley, and a friend of mine, Bill Lloyd, who's a great songwriter, they have a thing called the Long Players, and they do albums in their entirety. Like they'll do the Beatles' White Album, and they'll do every song from the very first song to the last, and they'll reproduce them, and they'll have different singers come in and sing each song. I did one last year where they did Abbey Road, and so yeah, there's a lot of different kind of music here. There really is. It's and it's really grown. I mean, Nashville is very metropolis. It's really, really growing. There's a lot of downtown living there now. They have high-rise, flats where people live. It's pretty modern, pretty cutting edge. I mean, Google's here. I think one of their headquarters is here, and what do you call it? Dell Computers. It's their headquarters is here. It's really, really grown since I've been here, and so. But yeah, I know what you mean. I mean, even I won't get into politics even, but even that is a little hard for me sometimes because it's my views are a little different than the majority here. But you go into Nashville and it's a lot different. But it's actually pretty diverse here. It really is, especially Nashville proper. It's very diverse. It really is.
Are there many places like the Bishmer, not the Bishmer, the Wolf Trap?
Well, the Ryman Auditorium, for instance, the Ryman Auditorium, which is a legendary concert hall. They have everybody there. I mean, everybody. I mean, Crosby, Stills and Nash, Michael, Elvis Costello. I mean, everybody you can think of has played there. There's a lot of venues here that a lot of music, a lot of different kind of diverse music. Nashville's a major stop for major tours. I mean, they come through here.
Maybe I should check it out. They say from Austin, Texas, right? It's a lot of music town, right?
Austin's kind of similar. Austin's a little more rootsy than Nashville, maybe, but yeah, that's a good comparison. It's similar. It is. Austin's. I'm good friends with Christopher Cross, and he lives there. He's an Austin guy. He loves it there.
I love his music too, man. Man, I have a lot of questions. I don't know how long do you have time or?
I'm okay. I'm all right.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, it's any artist that, as I said before, I'm always looking for new people, and I'm quite sure after this I'm going to ping you if you can recommend me some people. Any artist that we should check out? You know my style. You listen to my radios and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, you probably know more than I do. I mean, gosh, I'd have to think about that for a second.
You can send me an email later on. Check this guy, check the guy, and I'm always looking for new people to bring it to have an interview with them, right? So getting a hold of, I don't know, the big names that.
You might be interested. You might be interested in Dylan. I mean, Mike's son.
Definitely. I will check him out.
He's a really good guy. Very bright, smart, and a funny guy. He's a really good guy, but he's very talented. He's really good. You should check out his music. He's really good.
Yeah, I will check it out. I grew myself and all that. As mentioned before, it's hard. It's difficult to be the son of somebody because you need to. I don't know. Everybody always compare you. I'm different now. Well, better than worse, but I'm different, right? So
Yeah, another band to check out is a band that I produced. They're called Midtones, and they're really good. I don't think they have a website per se, but I could send you their music.
What kind of stuff? What type of music is it?
It's kind of it's sort of alternative rock. It's different. It's different. It's
Yeah, we'll check it out.
yeah. They kind of remind me maybe of a little bit of Smashing Pumpkins, or
Yeah.
but it's good. It's intelligent lyrics, melodic, and they play with a lot of passion. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I will check it out. What are your top, if, I don't know, I want to say something stupid, but if you have 5 days to live and God, give you any wish or your life, 5 people that you wish you have the opportunity to play in your life, and 5 vinyl, nothing vinyl that you can take to an island before you die or whatever.
Well,
I hope you don't die, but
of course, Beatles is there.
the Beatles, yeah.
Yeah, anything by the Beatles. Especially, I'm really looking forward to this Peter Jackson reboot of Let It Be, which is called Get Back.
Yeah.
It's coming out next year. Joni Mitchell is really high on my list. I'm just a huge Joni Mitchell fan. Gosh, I love Toto. I mean, I'm good friends. I'm proud to say I'm good friends with Steve Lukather.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a sweetheart. We did a tour with them back in 2013, 2014, where we co-billed with them. And boy, it was a little intimidating being on the same stage with Steve Lukather, because to me, in my eyes, he's like the greatest guitar player that ever lived. But
Really?
he's just a super sweet guy and very supportive and of his fellow players. And yeah, Toto would be another one. That's 3. Let me think. I love David Crosby's a big hero of mine. Stephen Stills, that whole genre of music I really love. Stevie Wonder would have to be on that list. That's 5. At least 5. I could go another 5 and 5 after that. But
I don't know if you have the opportunity, but one of the first interview I did was with Simon Phillips.
Oh yeah, I know Simon. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if you have the chance to watch the interview, but yeah, he's
I'll watch that.
very good guy, and somehow all the British people that have done interview with them, they're very good people. They're very different than Americans.
Yeah.
Very humble, from Steve Hackett, from Simon Phillips, for Anthony Phillips from Genesis too, and
Yeah.
very good people, and many others they have done, and they're very different Americans. I hope Steve Lukather is not listening to stuff, but somehow I picture him. Of course, never met the guy, never talked to the guy, but I picture more than an arrogant person. And maybe I'm wrong, but
No, I wouldn't. I don't know if I'd use the word arrogant. I know what you're saying, but
he come across to me like a girl that I'm above everybody else, and maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, because I would love to have an interview with the guy. But
Steve has a heart of gold. He really does.
Really? Yeah.
He's a very loving. I mean, every time I see him, he hugs me, and I mean, he kisses me on the cheek. I mean, he's just
Wow. Yeah.
but he's a family man. But I can see what you're saying. He's not shy about his opinions or telling you what he thinks. I mean, he manages Toto now, because he manages him because he didn't think anybody could do it right, so he took control. He can definitely be brash, and he's not one to hold back profanities or. But I can guarantee you, speaking from experience, he's a very loving, sweet man. He really is. He's really, 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 really nice guy. And I mean, maybe other people he's not nice to, but he's nice to me. Every time I've seen him, like we went and saw them a couple of years ago, my wife and I, in where was that? Somewhere in Atlanta. I think it was. Oh no, maybe it was. I can't remember where it was. Somewhere down south of us. And he brought me backstage, and it was just me and my wife and him backstage, hanging out and talking. We sat there back there for an hour and just talked about anything. He's really, I think he likes to be just regular, but he's a rock star. There's no two ways about it. He's kind of a rock star, and I think that's part of his persona.
Yeah. As I said before, maybe I'm completely wrong. That's the opinion that I have the guy looking at from my eyes, which is very different to where you are sitting. The same opinion with the King Crimson guy, right? Interview 2 so far, and I wanted to get a hold of Robert Fripp, and the same opinion. I have the opinion of Robert Fripp that he's a tough guy and kind of arrogant. And one of the guys I interviewed, he told me he's like it's hard on the outside, but mushy on the inside. Once you get to know the guy and relax with you, he's very funny and a nice person. But
well, that's a good point. I think that I think it's a matter of insecurity sometimes. People put on a front, because they're insecure of being in public, and once you get to know them, I mean, I can speak from experience. A handful of celebrities that I played with that are not the most pleasant people, and I'm not going to name any names, but and sometimes they'll come off as nice, but when you get to know them, they're not. So there's the reverse of that as well. So, unfortunately.
How I will have a hard time thinking about questioning interview somebody who half the way they interview, I say, what the heck, this guy is a prick, and arrogant, what I'm doing here, why I'm wasting my time, or he's wasting his time with me.
Yeah.
Because the opinion that I may have of certain people may be very different when you get to know them, right? All these people I can mention, I know them as as artists, right? I buy the music, I put the music on the radio, right? But have no idea how they are in real life. Maybe they're real us,
That's an unfortunate feeling. I one of my heroes, I got to meet one time, and he turned out to be a complete jerk. And it disappointed me because I'm so spiritually connected to his music.
Yeah.
I got to meet him later, and he was nicer. I'm just going to say it was Todd Rundgren. And
Todd, he's a good guy to you.
But he was really nice to me later. I think this first time he just was in a bad mood, and I happened to get the brunt end of it, and it was unpleasant. It shattered me because he's one of my main influences. He's another guy I would take to the island with me. I love his music, and but he turned out to be a nice guy in the end, I think.
By the way, now that Steven Locketeer and then Todd, they're playing with Ringo. Have you met Ringo? Or
I did meet Ringo. Yes, I did.
What about the other two?
That was because of Steve Lukather. Because Steve was playing with us, and he was playing with Ringo, and he would tell me Ringo stories, and I go, man, I've never met a Beatle. I would love to meet him. He goes, just call me next time I'll hook you up. And I went, okay. And he did. I remember we went to St. Louis to see him, and we got backstage, and they guided us backstage, and Steve met me, and it was in a room of maybe 10 people, 15 people. That was it. And Ringo came in, and I'll never forget it. It was like, oh my God, there's Ringo. And Ringo came right over to Steve, and very personable. And Ringo shook my hand, and he was so warm and generous. And Luke made that happen. He made that happen. And I'll never forget it. Steve goes, yeah, Bernie plays guitar for Michael McDonald. And he goes, and Ringo goes, oh, really? He goes, you want a job? And I went, yes. And we all laughed. But, that's Luke made that happen. So he's blessed in my book from forever,
Yeah. For me, as you know, the stuff on the radio, in many ways, I never thought that I will put this project together and then do phase 2, phase 3, and launch another radio. And I wanted to, in many ways, close the circle, right? I have admiration for so many musicians because music is so important to me. But a lot of people ask me the same thing. Are you playing an instrument? No, I don't. Have you played? No, I have no interest. Do you know how to read it? No, I just began listening music when I was a baby, and my son is the same. So I want to really close the loop, and I talk to these people that I have that I admire because I like the music. So Pink Floyd, from Peter Gabriel, from Pan Metheny, and blah blah blah. And some of them, of course, because some, those are online radio, and I'm not the BBC. Or hopefully one day, and I want to meet this guy. Have like a normal. No need to be a conversation. Tell me the good stuff. Tell me about the bathtub in everything, and talk, and then put the interview out there for people to listen to, like I would have listened if this radio existed. And
thank God for that. I mean, I have another friend that has a similar view on music that you do. He just loves music. He's always sharing stuff, but he doesn't play anything. But he loves it and he feels it. I mean, music is a thing that moves us. Moves our spirit. It's important. It's very important. And like Peter Jackson redoing this Beatle thing, it's like, he's not a musician, but he's doing it because he loves it. And of course he's going to make money, of course, but nothing wrong with that.
No, of course you need to make a living. Yeah. What about if you want to talk about your new CD one day? Maybe one day, I think. Maybe one day.
Yeah, that was basically, I wrote most of it during, shelter in place, lockdown, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And there's a few songs that are directly about isolation, and one song's called New Normal, which is, obviously it's just my feelings about dealing with this new world that we've been dealing with. And there's some political stuff in there too. I don't know if we need to get into that, but these last 4 years have been difficult. And then there's love songs, and but all of it was recorded all in these since March up through September. I like to think of it, I say this about every record that I do, but I like to think it's my best so far. I may think that later, but I feel really good. And a lot of my friends have told me this is the best thing you've done. So I'm happy with it. I'm already working on another one, and I think it's better than the last one. So.
Yeah, I would need to. I have not had the chance to listen to that because I don't have it. But
I'll send it to you.
Yeah, that would be good. Would love to listen. And of course, two observations there. You gotta think that way. You need. If you thought that wasn't as good and the one before, you're gonna put it out. Of course, so psychologically, you need to think that that's the best work you've ever done.
Well, that, and like again, Paul McCartney. I'm going to reference him again, but I heard him say recently. He goes, "I feel like I haven't written my best song yet," and it's like, really? Yesterday, But that just kind of proves the point. As an artist, you're always striving to be better. I mean, Picasso painted the same thing pretty much the later part of his life. He was trying to get it right. I think we're always striving to be better.
And people pay $100 million for painting, and sometimes I don't understand. How is somebody? I don't know. If I did have the amount of money, Bernie, I would do something good in society. There's nothing wrong making money for yourself and a house, a car. You earn it. Yeah. But if something wrong, that's the only thing you do.
Yeah. I agree.
I work for Microsoft, right? Bill Gates donate a lot of money. Elon Musk is going to be donated, but there are some people that they are not like that. They want to accumulate that. They don't do anything good for society. What's the point of doing that?
And I could think of one guy who is in the White House right now that fits that.
Of course, yeah.
I'm sorry, I won't go any further than that.
Yeah, no. We have the same political views, man.
Yeah.
Well, we have a new president in 30 days from now, and things need to change. This country, it has gone down the toilet the last 4 years. Yeah, he and his family, they're all a bunch of scumbags, and the whole world doesn't respect the United States, look at us as a joke. Yeah. The president walk out of any important treaty in the world, important stuff. According to him, climate is not a big deal. And I would like to interview the guy because I will ask him very difficult questions. I'm a very nice person, Bernie, but I can be mean when I want to be. I mean, you know.
I can relate to what you're saying right now. The irony in all this to me, I think about that a lot, is this whole thing about a fraudulent election coming from a guy that couldn't be more of a fraud.
Of course, he's a fraud to begin with. His middle name is fraud. The whole family is fraud. The injustice to black people, where white cops got away because he's a white. I wonder if it was the other way around. How many years, a black cop will get into it. In a way, I wish to be a judge, because I will look that those people are not being partial, or maybe he's partial, but the evidence that's presented to it. I wish in many ways I was born in this. I had been born in this country, wouldn't have an accent. We have gone to a top school in the country, like I did, and then I will make my own name, because I will have like a show, and then I will tell the people, I'm right front. I'm going to ask you a lot of difficult questions, so think about twice if you want to come to the show. But if you are, be honest with me, and if you are not answering the question, I will ask the question again. I'm not offend you, but I will say you have at least know what I asked you. This and that. So and
it should be.
They would hope, they gotta be transparency and
Anyway,
that's so. Where people can buy your music? In your website, you have a website where
I have a website, BernieChiaravalle.com. Got a music page with all my records up there, and you can buy the CDs, or you can all the digital outlets, iTunes. Unfortunately, the streaming age has hurt us with sales a little bit. Sorry, that's Adam. All the digital outlets. It's pretty much anywhere you can find digital music, you can find my music. Amazon, iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, all of it. It's all there.
If people in the website can buy vinyls as well, or no, on just CDs?
I haven't done a vinyl in a long time. I mean, the band Page One I told you about, we did vinyl years ago, but it's pretty expensive to do vinyl, and
in order to recover the investment.
The band Midtones I was telling you about, they did a vinyl record, which is kind of neat. But unless you're somebody like a big artist, it's really not worth it. You're going to lose money. If you do it just to do it, it's fine, I guess. But I can pay for my records by people buying CDs, which is nice. And I do have a fan base enough that I usually sell out of the CDs every time I order them. So,
what do you think? Yeah. So, how's I noticed your website, you have like a Patreon section.
Patreon is
okay. That works, right?
Yeah, it's fun. I have a small community there, and they pay like $1 to $3 a month, and I'll play them demos that I'm working on before they're finished, or sometimes I'll do a recording session and I'll show them how the song is built and take the tracks apart, and people really love that. I've got some faithful followers there. That's fun. Adam turned me on to that, actually, my son. He said, Dad, you ought to do a Patreon site. And I'm like, what's that? So
maybe I will do the reason I was asking about that is maybe I will do that for one of the radios. But for now, see, for me, the thing is, I always have the idea that I want to put the money. I already own a lot of music. I'm paying rights to, in order to have a radio, you need to pay a little bit of money. And it's not expensive, because since I don't have any income coming in, I'm in the lower tier. And it's 24-hour a day, no media, no ads, completely free, great music, because I'm very picky in the stuff that I upload nightly, and I wanted to keep it free as much as I can, right?
That's great.
And then 90% is music. The other 10% is talking to people, musicians like yourself, right? You never see an ad from Coca-Cola or nothing. For now, I don't have any interest to go the commercial way. I want to have the best record with the best music, with the best sound all over. And if people want to contribute down the road, man, that would be.
That's a great attitude, because as a musician, that I do it for the love of it first.
Of course, yeah, right.
And that's that's really to me, that's just the best way to be in life.
Yeah.
You know?
If the radio become big and I have hundreds of thousands of listeners in the world, yeah, then I will do like a Patreon where people can contribute $1.35, and then use the money, to pay for,
Pay for
for a
stuff.
new radio, pay for itself, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And people like being part of things sometimes, of projects that they helped it happen, That's
Sure.
important.
Yeah, definitely. I want to explore that stuff with Adam to see if there's, and man, you have been either chair, stage, or recorded with, man, Chaka Khan, Average White Band, Bill Reston, Toto, Christopher Cross. Man, what a name, man. Is any,
Yeah.
man, you very, very few musicians you haven't played to, man.
Well, yeah, I haven't played with the Beatle, but yeah, I've been really fortunate. I've been, and some of them I call friends, which is neat,
That's pretty good. And the last question is, what kind of music you listen to when you're not, when you're in the car driving, or you go to the grocery, or whatever? What kind of stuff you like? Or do you buy CDs? You buy record, or you buy digital stuff?
I do buy CDs. I'm gonna put on my music here just for a second so I can see.
Yeah.
Because I forget sometimes when I'm trying to think of it. Come on, what are you doing here? I know I can't see you. Oh, here we go. Grab this. All right, there we go. Let's see. Who do I like? Like I said, I still listen to Joni Mitchell. I got the new Paul McCartney album, which I'm kind of disappointed with, to be honest with you. I think he needs to kind of, who am I to say? But, I think he needs to think about just maybe getting into his writing a little deeper, or maybe write some with some other people, because he's still got the brilliance, but I don't know. The songs.
Too softy, he's becoming, yeah.
Yeah. I love Jeff Lynne stuff, ELO, Electric Light Orchestra.
Yeah.
Let me look through James Taylor, I still really like.
Yeah, man, those are big names, man.
Judy Collins. I love Alison Krauss with, she's country, but not really. There's a new band called Haim. Are you hip to them at all?
No.
It's 3 girls from Los Angeles. They're really good. They're really good. They play all their own instruments and write their own, produce their stuff. They're really good.
How you spell the
It's Haim. It looks like Haim, but it's pronounced Haim. They're really good. Their stuff can be a little popish at times, but it's
check it out. Yeah,
they're good. They're serious about what they do. And my kids turn me on to stuff. Adam and Rachel, they both have totally different tastes in music. Adam is more experimental, kind of underground kind of stuff, where Rachel's more pop. She turned me on to Casey Musgraves, who's country, but I love her album. It's really good. Taylor Swift's new stuff I kind of like. I'm like you. I like all kinds of music. I mean, anything that's good, that's obviously done well, I'll appreciate it. If it gets me, it gets me. Doesn't matter what.
Bands like in the UK, like High as a Kite, London Grammar. You know those people?
A little bit, yeah. I should do more. I'm always learning new bands. I just discovered Wilco last year.
They're very good, yeah. What I will do tonight, I will send you a list of top songs that are good stuff according to Claudio.
Okay.
And then you can send, Bernie send to Claudio, top songs that are good according to him, and then we.
And send me your address, and I'll send you some of my CDs.
Yeah, I will do that, man. All right, man. So let me stop the recording here, and then we talk 2 minutes and then
okay,
about
sure.
the other stuff. And well, thank you again for your time, Bernie. And thank you very much again for the beautiful music, for your honesty. You are a very good and decent guy. And
my pleasure.
We align our political views, and we have a new president in 20 days, and we need to turn this country around, man.
We will. I think Biden is the right guy for the times. I really do.
And hopefully we'll hire the best people for the job and get rid of all the nonsense. And
he already is. He already is.
all the BS and everything, man. All right. Thank you very much again, man. I appreciate it. Thank you. Then let me stop that then.
Okay.
Then